would you like to read a book?
No,
Would you like to color something?
I did.
Bart, would you like to read a book?
Guten Morgen. I am Dr. Van Swine. And who are you?
Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck, the wealthiest guy in Duckburg? I see. Well, I'm afraid you come to the wrong place. The mental health clinic for the screwballs is down the street. You
And stay out!
Oh. Johnny, you're not supposed to read the subtitles out loud in funny voices while making hand shadows on the screen.
Well, excuse me, but that movie really bit. That was the worst 7-hour black and white documentary on moody Danish people I've ever seen. What's that smell? Can it be the fetid chemical waste dumps of Lodi, New Jersey? No! It's the stupid movie Carl took me to!
For your information, it was rich in symbolism.
It was rich in boring me to death.
Oh, yeah? Well, you're stupid.
No, you're stupid.
Well, you're stupider.
No.
SpongeBob lounges back in his chair and watches some kind of sea creature wobble back and forth, seductively. SpongeBob leans in to see a little closer until he's caught in the act by Gary. Quickly, SpongeBob scrambles for the remote controller and pulls the good old, I was just, looking for the sports channel trick on his trusty pet snail, but Gary always knows what's really up. SpongeBob was just trying to watch a little bit of popcorn before bedtime. She flips open a magical book to find the cure, and she finds an odd set of numbers that read 531-8008. Now, flip that number over and see what it says. Mature Cartoon Network, real mature.
What we see is, of course, instructions of Ed to flush the toilet, and after he's finished using it, we also see a note of which tells Ed what not to do. Discreetly placed in the bathroom, you'll be able to read a note that says "Don't touch yourself," implying that Ed enjoys doing some woodwork, if you know what I mean. Not the most appropriate prop to include in a children's cartoon show, but nonetheless, pretty funny.
You will join me for dinner. That's not a request!
Many fans have argued Beauty and the Beast is about Stockholm Syndrome, when the kidnapped fall in love with their capturers. If true, this dark message would definitely be something kids won't pick up on, or at least let's hope. Even though this was subtle, maybe later in life children will still see this story as not as Stockholm Syndrome, but as love. Snow White might disguise itself as a cute fairy tale story, but in reality it holds a dark message we hope kids don't pick up on. The message is, beauty is everything. Literally, in Snow White, beauty saves lives. Prince Charming can't help but kiss her when he sees her dead body. He may not know what consent means, but at least she's alive, right?
Fair use allows to distribute, reproduce, and show clips for criticism, commenting, reporting, teaching, and research of copyrighted material without authorization of the copyright.
I'll tell you what's the worst part about television is the programming, the philosophy, okay? I mean, the manipulating of your mind, the philosophy, the mentality, the system of thinking, the ideology. That's what's wrong with television. That's what's wrong with movies. That's where they're really getting in your head. Take, for example, Walt Disney, right? And many people that will preach against the TV, they'll preach against the movies, they'll preach against Hollywood because it's obvious that stuff is bad. But then they'll say, well, we watch Disney movies. And I've been to the home of preachers and Christians who would never watch TV or the movies, but yet they have the whole library of the Walt Disney movies. You know those white plastic cases? And they have them all lined up, and I mean, they have tons of them lined up. Of course, I don't know how many there are, but there's hundreds of them. They have them lined up and lined up, and they have their kids watching those movies all day long. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to prove to you right now that those movies are wicked. Say, what? Disney movies? Come on, you're crazy. They're rated G. Well, let's see. First of all, did you know this? Did you know that Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages? Subliminal messages. Now, what are we talking about tonight? Sorcery. What are we talking about tonight? Getting inside your mind and messing with you. Controlling your thought process by supernatural means or demonic means. Or hey, I'm going to tell you something. Disney movies are filled with subliminal messages. And you say, oh, that's a hoax. I've seen it with my own eyes. When I was a teenager, I had a friend of mine sit me down at his house and show me the subliminal messages in the Disney movies. They're filled with subliminal messages. Let me give you some examples. The Lion King, filled with subliminal messages. Okay, all throughout the movie, there are pornographic pictures hidden in the movie. Like you'll be watching the movie and just for a few seconds, something filthy will come on. Like off to the side, there'll be some kind of a, reproductive anatomy will pop up, over here. And then over here, there's this one point where the lion, he kind of goes like this? And a cloud of dust comes up and just spells the word sex. And the word sex is put in the Lion King movie subliminally, literally hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. The shapes on the screen will spell the word. And I've seen it. I mean, I had my friend sit me down at his house and pausing the movie, showing me the word S-E-X popping up on the screen at different times because he knew where they were. And he would show me these things. Another one, and they all are filled with it. Aladdin is another one. In the movie Aladdin, there's a part in the movie where the guy, what's his name, Aladdin? There's a point in the movie where he tells Jasmine to take all her clothes off. But you don't even know it unless you know it's there. You listen to it, and he mumbles it kind of under his breath.
Leave me alone.
Down. So how's our little Bo doing? Come on, good. Take off. So how's our little Bo doing? Come on, good. Take off. Come on, good. Take off. On good take off.
And I mean, once you know it's there, you hear it just as clear as day. But you didn't know that it was there, you wouldn't hear it. And The Little Mermaid has a filthy picture drawn in the cover on the front of The Little Mermaid. And nobody would realize it until somebody shows you and says, look at this. And you look at it, whoa! And all throughout the movie there are scenes, I'm not even going to describe some of the scenes in The Little Mermaid, where subliminal messages are coming on the screen. The other movie, Beauty and the Beast. There, a nude woman pops up a few times in the background of Beauty and the Beast, filled with subliminal messages. Your kids are watching it and their mind is maybe not even seeing it, but it's going into their subconscious. Words flashing on the screen over and over. sex, nudity, filth, just all the smut is just coming on the screen. Oh, those movies are harmless. They're filled with subliminal messages. Who knows what your kids are being programmed? Oh, but you know what? I'm sure that it's only just the Disney movies. I'll guarantee you it's the rest of Hollywood probably doing the same thing. And these Disney movies, at first when I was a teenager and somebody showed me this, I thought it was just a couple movies, a couple scenes. But as time has gone on, I've realized that virtually every Disney movie is packed with hundreds of subliminal messages to program the minds of your children. Okay, but then forget the subliminal message. Just the message of the Disney movies is perverted. Even if you just forget the subliminal message. I mean, forget what movies did we bring up? The Little Mermaid. A half animal, half human being. And that's perverted in and of itself. All throughout the Bible, every false god is a half animal, half human being. They're constantly merging of animals and human beings. It's paganism. It's wicked. And yet every Disney movie is pretty much based on the merging of a human being with an animal. It's described in the Bible. And the movie The Little Mermaid, she's topless the whole time, right? She's just wearing like a bikini top. How is that? Is that how you want your daughter to dress? But there's no cussing, there's no nudity. Do you want your daughter going around in a bikini top? Is that modest apparel? Is that what Jesus Christ would have you to wear, ladies? No. The movie's filled with Satanism, witchcraft. There's some, Ursula, some witch that's casting spells and using sorcery and demonism. Oh, pretty innocent, right? All of them are filled with it. In the movie Beauty and the Beast, the whole first half of the movie is these prostitutes in the town that are dressed just half naked, dancing around, admiring this guy, the big, strong, handsome guy. But all these girls are dressed indecently. They're obscene in their gestures, subliminal messages, and then the whole movie is basically just exalting a certain physical standard of appearance. Beauty and the Beast is a movie about a woman who falls in love with an animal. And in the movie they keep acting like, well, he's just ugly. He's not ugly, he's an animal. But there's a difference between being ugly and being a beast, being an animal. And if you've seen the cartoon, it's an animal. It's like a dog. It's like a big dog man or something. I mean, it's clearly an animal, and yet she falls in love with him while he's an animal. Only when she kisses an animal does he become a human being. Oh, wow. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? Read the Bible sometime.
Hey guys, it's Jared. I pray this video shed light on the satanic, Luciferian, Illuminati indoctrination of our children through subliminal messages in Disney movies. I understand that you may not believe this, but when you look into who is making these movies and you see the fruits of their labor, it all makes sense. Walt Disney was a Freemason obsessed with the occult and used his movies and his theme parks as a tool to indoctrinate the public into his beliefs. Club 33 in the Disneyland parks is symbolic of the 33rd degree of Masonry. This symbolism is also put into the Disney movies. In the Dumbo movie, after getting drunk, Dumbo and the rat have lucid dreams that contain satanic, Luciferian, and Illuminati symbolism. Disney also displays its corrupt satanic agenda through programming of their idols. They introduce innocent stars that slip under parents' radar and build up a fan base. As the idols get older, they corrupt them and send them on a crash course in a dragnet plot to drag some of their fans down with them. Examples of this are Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera. I know the 666 in the Disney name is hard for some people to accept, but it is not Walt Disney's signature, as many believe. It is a made logo, and even as a kid I remember thinking the logo looked odd. That didn't look like any D I'd ever seen. The Y doesn't even look like a Y. And the squiggly above the I are all part of the hidden mark of the beast symbolism. Think about it. This mark is on everything Disney, and as if to affirm its importance and the mark of the beast promotion, on many Disney stores, Mickey's head is made with the same 666. If you still think it's a stretch, then you're probably comfortable with the hand scanning technology they are implementing for VIPs to enter their park and access their rooms. It is a forerunner for the RFID Mark of the Beast technology. They are getting the people ready. All these plots are satanic in nature. If you understand the Masons, Illuminati, and the times that we're living in, it should all be obvious to you. The reason why these Disney movies are so prevalent, the reason why people young, old, big, and small of this world are watching them, is because it is highly esteemed among men.
Look, doubloons! Don't drop them.
Don't drop the soap, as most know, is a warning not to get assaulted in the prison shower. Bending over to retrieve your soap puts you in a vulnerable position, thus the phrase. So why does this disturbing line appear in what's supposed to be a cartoon for children? Your guess is as good as mine, but what we do know is that SpongeBob has a very dark sense of humor. Unsolved murder. Reddit is a great place to go when you're looking for all things creepy, especially for hidden signs and secret messages and everyday things, including cartoons. One Reddit thread discussed the cartoon film, The Emperor's New Groove, and true to form, Redditors were full of theories. One Redditor, Lish94, said, while Kuzco is walking in the forest in his llama form, he sees a fly screaming, "Help me," before it gets devoured by a spider. Now this is done for comedic value in the film, but I think it's something much darker. He went on to explain that some of the animals in the film were originally human. They were turned into animals, as Kuzco was. Yzma, for instance, was a cat. Well, Kuzco was a donkey, but those animals who are actually animals aren't able to communicate with the human-animal hybrids. You see this when they were trying to communicate with a squeaking squirrel, and they only understand what he was trying to tell them through gestures. They weren't fluent in squirrel. The fly spoke as a human would. Kuzco understood the fly, so the Redditor theorized that the fly was originally human, and this spider in fact murdered him. Another human-animal hybrid out for vengeance, or maybe the spider was all animal and just out for an afternoon snack. The secret message was so subtle that the unsolved murder mystery has gone cold. Everything must die. Teaching human beings to come to terms with passing away can be a good thing. It is a pretty profound experience secondhand, and we can only imagine firsthand. But is 4 years old the right time to have this knowledge? Probably not. Thomas the Train thinks it is. Thomas and Friends, the famed books and TV series about talking trains, placed some strange imagery into its cartoon. The TV series involves trains who think they can and do try their best, as this big man in the top hat pushes them to work harder. Once they've worked hard, you'd expect them to live a relaxed retirement, wouldn't you? The corporate man does not have any such end in mind for his trains, so where do trains go when they they've aged and can no longer pull those heavy wagons of coal anymore. The scrap yard. Yep, you've heard that right. In one episode, Stepney the Bluebell engine has grown too old to pull his weight, so he's taken to the scrap yard, a massive metal graveyard where old trains are scrapped for parts, their bodies melted into new train pieces, and the rest left to rust in their living grave. The grossest part of this episode is that the animators ensured that children know how much pain, sadness, and fear the trains were in as they were taken apart and blowtorched. The even creepier part, one train in the background even had its face removed. Its face. They're like Hannibal Lecter at this scrapyard, scanning the faces of their victims. So basically, the trains are tortured alive, their good parts are harvested, and then they're left to die. Or to do whatever trains do, I don't know. And Thomas the Train isn't telling into the grandma's sweater, and the symbol of the Masons carved into her chair back. This was discovered on Reddit, when Redditor Norman Dia posted the image of the chair back on the conspiracy board. Many Redditors commented that it wasn't strange to have a Freemason grandpa who doesn't, while others said that it doesn't seem too far off because the grandma was obsessed by aliens and UFOs and was into conspiracy theories. Others think the writers or graphic artists were likely conspiracy nuts who just thought to hide the symbolism in there, while still others consider it highly suspicious that this symbol should appear in a children's flick